Make no mistake about it, we are at war. And we're at war with ourselves. You know, I think ever since the beginning of the TV that we've been on a steady decline as a society. And it's because we're letting the TVs raise our children. That's what's happening. We aren't doing the hard job, and if we don't do the job, then we force somebody else to do it. So if we don't raise our kids, we don't teach our kids about mindfulness and being positive and helping others and the importance of community and being together, well then, whatever you want to call it, negative energy, the devil, he's going to slide right in, and he'll teach you with Instagram and Facebook and pain, and that's what's happening for sure. So we wonder why things are going so bad. It's our own fault. We've taken the hard work out of everything. So now all we do is get dopamine hits every time we look at a screen, and so it's going unchecked. You know, it's like people start to use alcohol too much, we start to notice, and it starts to cause problems. People start to use weed too much, you notice, it starts to cause problems into your other life. And so there's these I don't know, not stipulations, but there's these surrounding ideas on all this type of stuff, like you shouldn't smoke too much, you shouldn't drink too much, you know, you shouldn't do this. But our social media and our digital and our minds is going completely unchecked. So it's just gonna avalanche and get worse and worse and worse unless we do something about it. And so there's people every day making content that are trying to burn the world down, and we need to be smarter about it, you know, and we need to forego instant gratification. You know, that's what our problem is. I think back in the 50s, before television was around, it's like people used to go outside and play. You would play pool and you would earn your dopamine, you know, and so it would teach you that working towards something and getting the reward, that was the goal. But now we can get dopamine hits just from looking at a screen and liking other people's stuff. And so now, just because I like someone else's stuff, they'll like me back no matter what I say. And so now I'm getting this false sense of what I'm doing is right and okay. And so it's just wreaking havoc on our minds. And as we get further along in this as our society, it's just getting worse because it's compounding, just like compound interest. You know, Warren Buffett talks about it, and that dude's super rich. Well, our negativity and our social media and it's compounding faster and faster and faster, and it's going unchecked. It feeds the cog, it feeds the machine, and so someone up at the top is getting paid, and their agenda has become what matters, and we can't see it as a society. And it's really hard. I mean, I'm 35 and I literally just had a realization, starting to wean myself off of media and all of these things that the world has imposed onto me, to thinking I need them to be happy, or hijacking my nervous system with dopamine hits from watching screens instead of earning our dopamine like our great grandparents did. It's funny because people say, you know, back in the day, people used to say, yes sir, no sir. You would work hard, you would respect your parents. There was so many things that were going on, And I feel like the invention of television was the beginning of the end. You know, we're getting dopamine for doing nothing, sitting there like a lazy ass and watching a screen and getting dopamine hits and getting high, and we didn't even know it was happening. That's the crazy part about it, and we had no idea, that this is what it was doing. And or people did have an idea, but it was making them money, and a lot of money, and so they don't care. They want to get rich. Everybody has different morals and values depending on the situations that happen to them in their life, how they grew up, how their parents, how their mentors, who they looked up to. All of this stuff comes into play, and now more than ever, it's so easy to get a negative and poison into your mind because it's right there and it's going unchecked. And so people are creating stuff that's full of hatred, and it's really bad for our society, and we don't even know it. It makes us feel good, and so we think it's good. Anything that feels good and you start doing it too much, it turns into a really bad thing. It doesn't matter what it is. And so that's like, man, now this stuff is going unchecked, and it's crazy. We can turn it around, but it's going to take people to wake up and realize that, you know, it's like the Matrix. We are in the Matrix. We need to open our eyes to the real world and not listen so much to all the stuff that is fed to us. It's real easy to just watch things and follow somebody's ideas, ideologies, or their teachings because they make it look pretty, sound nice, or fun, or they market it really well. And so it's not fair. It really is not fair. Um, but that's the way life is. you know like some people have a really easy good life with tons of abundance, and then there's people out there who can't even get water. So life isn't fair, and it never will be. So but but so what we need to start doing is the hard things. We need to start earning our dopamine. We need to scale back these screens, and we need to detox from this. It's like we need centers. It's like they're creating them. There's centers that are going to detox people from like the internet and social media. Man, it's like we need that as a world. We need the world to detox from this stuff and start to have some original thoughts. Start to have a new thought by reading an old book when things were different. And there's good people in the world today, and there's good things that are going on, but it doesn't sell. Negativity sells. Look at the media or the news. It's like they don't care about you. They don't care that what they're putting on that screen and you're watching sets you up for a day of negativity. Like, they don't care. They care is that you watch the commercials that make them money. And they don't care what the commercials are. Who's going to pay us the most? Who's going to pay us the most? And we'll play whatever you want. It could be the most mind poison of all. But hey, if you've got money and you're willing to pay us, morals and standards, I can look the other way. Hey, it'll give me what I want. More materialistic crap. And that's what they teach us. That's what they think life is about, and that's what people are starting to. That's what they think life's about. Gaining crap, this materialistic stuff that doesn't matter, and it's really hard because they put it in such a pretty package. And so it's it's funny because my mind goes back to it's not fair. But you know what? Things that happen to us in our life, and even though it may not be my fault that things have happened and it's not fair, but it's my responsibility to fix it. And that's where it begins and ends. We don't want to do the hard job. We don't want to raise our kids and find ways that our kids learn and what they like, and putting them into positive things, watching who they hang out with, watching what they listen to, watching what they watch on their screen. If we don't do these things, somebody else is going to do it. And so unfortunately, people have we're you know we have we're too smart for our own good. So now we figured out how to make people's minds react, and that's with shock and awe. It's not with compassion and truth. It's that stuff's completely out of the window, because it's like they say, the root of all evil, money can be the root of all evil. Well, and it can be, but it can also be a positive thing too. But we have a lot of people in the last 50, 70 years who have just lost their way, or they've had, bad things happen to them and bad influences. And so it's just compounding, compound, and it just spreads like wildfire. I had this thought last night, so how do we fix the world? The world fixed with us doing one good deed for one person a day. That's it. That's all it takes. Because then now that one person does a good deed for one or two other people, and then they do a good deed for one or two other people, and it spreads like wildfire, but it's hard, and it doesn't give you an instant dopamine hit. And so most people aren't doing it. It's like, hey, it doesn't make me feel good. That's the almighty, it doesn't make me feel good. I just want to feel good all the time. So then that's what, people who are lost, really lost, and up there with money, and that's what the message that they're teaching these kids. And even me, in the stuff that I watch, and I have to be very careful. I've told people, you've got to guard your mind, but I mean, man, I've had lately, I've been having a really moments of clarity. And it's insane how even me, I feel like I'm a fairly intelligent person, but yet still I fall into these traps. I mean, it's like I'm human, and so I do things that I shouldn't, believe things I shouldn't. I get lazy, and I want dopamine hits too, because it makes me feel good. And so man, it's like we need to start doing the hard things in life. Put down these damn screens. That's for sure, 1000%. We need to put these screens down, and we need to earn our dopamine the right way, and teach ourselves that you put in hard work, you're consistent, that you win and you get dopamine and you feel good. But now I could just like a post, and I feel good. I wake up and like. I mean, it's like it's literally like you're waking up and smoking crack. That's what that stuff is like, And nobody wants to tell you this, or the people who know about it, they get hushed. It's like their channels get blocked and banned, and if it doesn't feed this cog and this machine of the people who are up at the top and their agenda, well, then they make your products illegal. Like, look at weed. It's they basically outlawed it when it's one of the most natural and maybe healthy ways to get a dopamine hit. Or it's one way. It's definitely not the healthiest, but it's a different way. It's like we're all addicted to something, and most of it is man-made. Caffeine, cigarettes, the screens. It's all man-made. And that's really bad. And so that's what it's going to take, is for us to start to wake up and realize, and it feels like maybe there's somewhat of a movement going on. People are starting to be woke. I've got more and more friends, and maybe it's just because that's the energy that I'm putting out there, and I'm getting along with the other people who think the same way that I do. And so that could be what it is. It could be the same people, the same positivity, but now I've opened my receptors to it, and so I notice it more, and so that's what we need to start doing, the hard things. It's funny, everybody wants to change the world, but nobody, or very few people are willing to do the hard things. And and kind of what sparked this whole thought was, it's like Bob Marley. It's like, look at the dude, he just wanted to create positivity and help people and change the world with his music and being positive. It's like, man, that is such a good message. And I think that's why he died early. He lived a full life and he helped so many people. It's like, life on earth is hell. That's what I believe. I believe we're in hell right now. And so when you earn your next life, without pain, and your heaven or whatever, that's when you go. So that's a real tough one. It's not to say that people who are 90 years old are not good people. It's just it's weird. But that's what he probably was taken early because because of people didn't like his ideology. His ideas didn't feed the cog and the money machine, and so who knows? They probably had him killed. It probably wasn't like whatever the divine energy of life said. You did such a good job that we're gonna take you to heaven early. Like that's probably not what happened. But it's like things like that. Feeding positivity into the world and changing things for the better. But and that stuff is out there, but it doesn't get near as much play as it should. And so it's our responsibility. You want to get up and turn on the TV, well, you're allowing them to program your mind. That's exactly what's going on. If you're not choosing what you want to watch and then choosing wisely and making good decisions, well, now you're putting poison into your mind, because that's what that stuff is. It's like they're getting us addicted to their media, their lifestyle, their mindset, and they're using the dopamine hits from our screens and our movies and our TVs and our commercials to doing it. They're hijacking us. And it goes back to, oh, it's not fair. It's just the way the world is. So, do you want to get bitter or do you want to get better? And so we need to get better, and we need to work on it. And we need to create content like this to help people to open their eyes that there's a different way to think, and to realize what we're doing, because a lot of the times it's like I don't know what I'm doing until I could step outside of myself, and if I could step outside of myself sometimes, and then I'm like, wow, dude, what the hell are you thinking, or what are you doing? And that's normal, but if it goes unchecked and I'm not measuring my growth and the things that I'm doing, well, it's like, man, I'm gonna go off into tons of tangents, and I'm gonna lose focus because there's so many distractions. The distractions are unreal. And so I feel bad for people who have, a little bit weaker minds. Everybody has the capacity to get on the same wavelength. I think it for sure 100% has to do with the food that we eat. It's just everything ties into each other. We eat crappy food, we watch crappy TV, we feel like crap, and we're expecting stuff to fix us and help us, but it can't, because it was never designed to. It wasn't designed, junk food. It wasn't designed to be healthy. It was designed to give you a dopamine hit, and so that you feel good because it tastes good. That's it. They're hijacking our nervous system and our bodies. And so, and I still eat that crap all the time too. And it's a tough thing to break. But being able to realize it, that's the beginning. Being able to understand what is going on with our bodies and our minds and what this stuff is doing, that's where it all begins. And that's what we need to do. And that's what I mean by doing the hard things. It's like eating tons of vegetables and whole foods. Sure, it's not going to taste as good as In-N-Out or burgers and fries and stuff like that. But is that what we want? The fast, hard lifestyle that gives us tons of dopamine, but then we die and we feel like crap? Because we reap what we sow. It's like the food we eat, you make your bed, now lie in it. And I guess that's kind of a cold way and a mean way to look at things, but it's the truth. And people, they hide the truth from everybody. It's like, sometimes there's a lesson and someone gives it to you and they kind of say it like an asshole. Well, okay, that's understandable. But if it's a good lesson, well then, try to not let the asshole part bug you, but try to pull that good lesson out of there. So then you don't have to listen to maybe it again, and then, and then get the negative feelings that are associated with that positive thought. It's like we need to be smarter, and people are going to say things that we don't like, and that's where it comes into play too. It's like we only want people to say things that we like, but growth isn't in um, laying around. It's like growth is in tearing the muscles. The growth is in trying things that we have never done to get things that we've never had. That's what growth is. I mean, that's the literal definition. It's like you want to work out and you want to build bigger muscles, you have to tear what you have. You have to cause, and with tearing comes pain. Now that's at a microscopic, very minimal level. You tear too much and now you've caused an injury. And so it's a very delicate balance. And so it's going to take time. But man, we start teaching these kids young and raise them to kind of think that way, they're going to have so much better of a life, because they're going to know and understand that life isn't about feeling good and happy all the time. That's not what life is about. Life is about learning and getting better and growing and helping out and taking all the knowledge that we have gathered in our whole life and passing it on to the next generation, and so that they can get better and smarter and faster and have less pain. But it's like that's not happening necessarily, because it's becoming way too easy to become complacent and let them program and run our life. We'll listen to the things that they say, collect the unemployment and money for doing nothing, but all we have to do is believe in the crap that they are forcing down our throat. And that's on both sides. I ain't even gonna get into politics, but both sides are crazy. There's an agenda, and the agenda is money. That's what it is. So many people, they associate money with happiness, and so they're willing to do whatever it takes, and it's like, I want my agenda more so than yours. It doesn't matter whether it's right or not, it's my agenda, and I want to win. That's America. I want to win, and so I think we can learn stuff from other countries, and it's like we're a great nation, and we can teach this world, and it could begin, like, we can start a movement of positivity and health and change this world, because they would follow us because we look pretty, and we've done that very well. We know how to make stuff look attractive. We know how to do all that type of stuff because we're in such abundance. There's people out there who are broke, super broke, don't have water and food, and we're over here with all the water and food that we can eat, but we just want dopamine. I just want to feel good. It's like, damn, like, you want all you've got food, water, man. We don't have to go anywhere. We can go outside and hike. It's beautiful. We don't have to fight the bad weather, but we've grown complacent, and and so we do what's easy and what feels good, and that is 100% the problem. It's okay to not be okay all the time, and so we need to feel pain, and we need to start embracing pain and growth and doing the hard thing, and because that is what's gonna make the world a better place. So it's not gonna be easy. Anything worthwhile always is gonna be hard, but it'll be worth it. And so I think if people just were to see just a shred of that in their life, just to see a little bit, of, man, okay, if I forego instant gratification and I put in the work and then I get a reward later on down the road, it's going to be a better reward than a like ever could be, because that's just the way life is. Whatever comes fast goes fast. And so we need to start doing the hard things, and teaching kids that life is about pain. It's gonna happen. People are gonna hurt you, but so you need to believe and choose the things that are good for you, and go through them, you know, to end up being in a better place, because a lot of us and a lot of the things and the decisions that we make are causing us pain but leaving us in a worse place, and that is a huge problem. And then so that's the snowball effect, and that's where we are today. And so for me, I need to stop thinking like they are feeding me. I need to start reading different books, talking differently, having different conversations, trying things I haven't done, foregoing instant gratification. And it's like I need to not tell people what to do. People will find their own way, but what I need to do is start putting stuff out there to help people, because, that, like I say, you help one person and you change one life. And to go from being a selfish, negative life into being a positive and helping other people, well, now that affects just an endless amount of people, and that is how the world will be changed. But it all depends. Are we willing to put down the phones, put down the bad food, put down the alcohol and the pills that the machine tells us that it's okay because they're making money on it? Can we think farther than that? Is it possible? It is. Is it going to be tough? Fuck yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be real hard, you know? And but it will be worth it. And so it all begins and ends with what we let into our minds. So my friends, guard your mind, guard your children's mind, with your, like, their life depends on it, because it does. And I hope that this can help reach some people. I can get pretty passionate and have emotion, and it's funny, I used to think that it was passion, but it's anger. And anger is emotion, and used positively, it can, it can be a good thing. But so, it's like you can do it. There's it is going to be hard, but it will be worth it. And we start surrounding ourselves with people who think the same way, and it'll just be like a feedback loop, and that's what it's going to take. So I hope maybe some of this had reached you, and maybe my thoughts can help generate a different way of thinking for other people, because that's really all that I want, is to share the things that I have learned. And I'm wrong all the time. There's definitely things in this video that a couple years from now I may change the way that I think, and that's okay. It's completely okay to change your mind. And the strongest minds are the ones who can change or realize that they were wrong, and not be stubborn and let go of ideologies in the past, because whether they're good or bad, and we need to make that decision. And so that's where the people who can put down the ego, put down the pride, swallow their pride, and do the hard things and be like, okay, I thought this, and now I need to change, because that's not really correct. That thinking was not right, and that's okay. But it's a beautiful thing to be able to think like that. And so I'm working on that as myself, and I think, if other people worked on it too, I think they'd be in a much better place. So I'm going to create more stuff like this. I hope it reaches you people, especially you kids out there. Excuse my language. Sometimes I speak French. I get a little bit angry, but the message is the point. Don't get caught up on how I say it. And I'm human. I make mistakes, and I think what my thoughts are the way it should be. When it's like, we need to be really open-minded, and be willing to have two ideas tossed at us and make the decision and choose the one that's better for us. Not what feels better, but what is actually better for us in the long run. And so I hope this reaches you guys, and I'll be creating more stuff like this, because the world needs some better idols. It needs some better inspiration and some better content out there. It's a constant job. We need to combat this evil and negativity, and the only way to do it is get out there, get in front of it, and create stuff like this. That's the only way it's going to happen. We have to fight fire with fire. We have to come at the negativity as full force as it comes at us, because like I said in the beginning, we are at war, and and that's okay. It's totally fine, you know, as long as we know where we are, where we stand, where we're going, then we're gonna have a much better chance of doing what's right. So start doing the hard things, my friends, and you'll find out that your life will get better. It won't be instant. It's not going to be a like, oh, I feel good. It won't be that, but that's not how life is meant to be. So thank you. Like, share, subscribe if you want. If you don't, I mean, that's totally cool too. Put a comment in there. I'll try to get back to you guys if I can, or when I can. And so, peace, love, and positivity to everybody. And you can do this. We can do this. Let's start the journey and begin right now. So, later, later, laters.